Right now, joining us, well, first we're going to show you what she said yesterday. Beth Van Duyne, Congresswoman, on the possibility of shutting down government until the administration acts.
None of us want to shut down the government, but we all recognize the fact that every single penny that we are giving to Homeland Security at this point that is not being used to secure our border, that is not being used to increase our national security, but is doing the exact opposite. It is weakening it. It is forcing more and more people quickly, more efficiently into our country illegally, is hurting our national security, hurting our best interest, and killing our economy.
And here to give us her thoughts on that trip to the border, Congresswoman Van Duyne. Congresswoman, welcome back to American Agenda. We were watching you speak live yesterday, surrounded by your colleagues and peers. How do you feel that the event went? There were a lot of very, very strong commentary, a lot of facts and figures given by Mike Johnson and others, including yourself. Your overall reaction, and do you think that is going to help push the Biden administration in the right direction?
Well, I tell you, it's amazing the difference that we have. You have carried this, you've carried coverage, and you've seen what it's been like there. When we got down there, when we went to the facility, it was stripped. There was nobody there. They've obviously diverted the traffic elsewhere. It's kind of like, pressing a balloon. They're moving it from one place to another. I said what we should do is threaten to come down every week, and maybe they'll get control because they don't want us to have those images. They don't want us to be able to talk about it. They don't want us to have those videos. So the stripped down version at the center was just despicable. But they couldn't prevent us from speaking to people who live there, from landowners, from the sheriffs who are dealing with it, with a crime there on a regular basis. And the story that they told is basically it's a catastrophe that's happening right now. They talked about the 100,000 kids who have been lost in the system. They're not testing them. They're not doing any kind of DNA testing. They're just simply releasing them to whoever comes and claims them. But there's been no testing. We don't even know where they are at this point. They talked about women and the women who are coming in and little girls who are coming in over the border, and how they are having to spend 13 to 18 years in the sex trade industry working off the debts to these coyotes that are bringing them over illegally. They said, we don't have an immigration problem. We have a sex and slave trade problem. This is coming from the cartels. It is being helped by the Biden administration because they're basically acting as logistics partners. They're taking these people who are coming over illegally. They're putting them on planes. They're putting them on buses and sending them wherever they're requesting. But none of this is helping to secure our country. And when you talk to them firsthand and you talk to the sheriffs that will tell you about the crime and how livid they are, it really got a lot of us worked up. And in the fact the money that we're spending on Homeland Security right now isn't being used to shut the border. It's being used to actually take our Border Patrol agents off the front line, off the border, bringing them into these centers where all they are doing is more efficiently putting people into our country illegally. That has got to stop.
Real quick here. We got about 30 seconds here. I can point the finger at one person for this. One person. The president of the United States caused this problem. He opened up the border, said, come on in, and wow, what a mess this has made. Your thoughts about that?
Look, I have been saying that we need, I think there's two people. I think there's Mayorkas and I think there's Biden. I have been calling for the impeachment of Mayorkas because he's obviously lied to Congress multiple times, saying that the border's closed when we can clearly see that it's not. The second person, as you mentioned, it's Biden. It's the entire Biden administration that is acting as a partner to these cartels, is not taking it seriously, and is opening up our borders as wide as possible while claiming that it's not. You're seeing it in cities like New York, Chicago, LA, who are feeling the brunt of simply a few thousand that are coming in. And I keep saying welcome to the party because in Texas we've seen over 4 million come in since the Biden administration. We've got a plan on board with the Border Security Act, the H.R. 2. We need to get it passed. We need to force Chuck Schumer and the president to do their job and make their agencies protect our border.
Something needs to be done. Congresswoman Beth Van Duyne, thank you for trying to fight for something be done there at the border. Appreciate you coming on.